So, for those of you who may or may not know, the Schalke situation is getting a whole lot worse. Starting 0-6 was certainly bad enough, but today it just got a whole lot worse. Forgiven, their ADC has announced that he is stepping down for the time being, basically saying that Schalke seems to be unable and unwilling to make changes that would allow them to win and be competitive, and that until they can make those changes, he's not coming back. And that's huge because he's not just some random player off the street. He's not some unproven rookie. This is a guy that's very, very experienced. Okay, 7+ years, and he's played on teams like H2K, Origin. He's played on SK. Has played a lot in the Greek professional League of Legends scene, and generally is just a well-rounded player that understands what's going on. Has been seen to be a bit volatile over the last few years, but ultimately a solid player and a veteran that any team would be welcome to have, barring some significant talent being available. And I think that him leaving in such an abrupt manner is indicative of not just player and coach issues, but organization issues, maybe going all the way up to how the team is managed. The reality is that Schalke has been extremely competitive over the last several splits in the last 2 years, consistently making improvements to the roster, developing a wider champion pool that they can play, being quoted as having a champion ocean at times, being able to play a wide range of strategies and win against some of the best teams in the LEC. And they have gotten better and better over the last couple of years. And so to see this very stark change from that to this, where not only do they not look like a team, they look like a bunch of solo queue players who aren't getting along very well. And that's sad because they've been so strong and so consistent that this makes this all the more shocking. The fact that you have a player who has just been brought on and forgiven, basically saying, hey, this is unmanageable. I can't stay here. I have to leave. It's almost crazy to think, but it's where the team's at right now. And I think that a lot of people are also more confused because the expectations were very high for this team coming into the season. Now, keep in mind, no one was, I think, really expecting that they were going to be, the top 1 or 2 team in the LEC. Certainly, G2 has proved beyond all doubt that they're very, very strong. Fnatic, kind of right behind them, just, kind of getting edged out just a little bit. But Origin and Schalke and Misfits were kind of these teams that were expected to be up there, and Misfits is working on that. Origin is fine right now. But Schalke is the big disappointment because on top of being 0-6, they look bad in all of their losses, and not like a little bad. They look really bad. No clear team leadership in game, no clear idea on how they want to draft and what their play style is, no clear team identity and what it is that makes them Schalke. A huge departure from last year where they had a very, very recognizable style that they were strong team fighters, fair enough macro sense, and an understanding of what's going on, very able to leverage map pressure to force certain outcomes that they wanted, and overall just a strong team, very well rounded, not fantastic, like the best at one thing, but very good at most things. And to see a team now that cannot even put up a Pyrrhic victory to even grab 1 W, it's sad. And it's very concerning when you think about where they might be 6 months from now, 8 months from now. Where are they going to be at next year? No one likes to think about a team getting removed, especially under the franchising rules now with relegation being gotten rid of. But the league reserves the right to remove teams that they feel aren't performing. And while I think we're far away from that being considered for Schalke, it also, by that same breath and that line of thinking, isn't unreasonable to think that they might go 0-18 in this spring split. Now, that is tempered with the reality that teams that know that they're not going to have any success in a split, once they get past that threshold of where they can't make playoffs, teams like that do become dangerous to the higher level teams and to teams that are just barely in that playoff berth. And if you have to play a team, that is, 0-16 or 0-15, that, basically saying, hey, we got nothing to lose. We've already lost this split. Might as well drag somebody down with us. And that is playing comfortably and playing without any sort of pressure. Those teams are dangerous to the teams I just mentioned. And it is possible that Schalke, in some sort of miracle Cinderella way, could put together some wins to get in a position where they could challenge for a playoff spot. But with what the team is showing us right now, and with the just complete lack of focus and the complete lack of leadership, and obviously the physical standings of being 0-6 and where they are at right now, it doesn't seem likely. And I think that even the normal vein of thinking that, oh, well, teams that, don't have anything to lose become dangerous, and that's Sunday when they win games, I don't think that even that applies now. I think that this team is so far gone that they might very well go 0-18. And it's hard to imagine Schalke going 0-18, but it looks like it's quickly going to become the reality. And the reality of that is that teams that lose that hard, even teams that don't go 0-18, teams that lose 15 or 16 games, which has happened before in the OEC, they don't recover the next split. You just don't. Your year is done at that point. If you lose that many games, then everything gets put on hold. Like there's no focus on winning. There's a focus on keeping the organization alive. And if that's where Schalke is at the end of this year, having lost that many games and not had the success, then it begs the question, where are they going to be next year?